Now I'm fine. Matt, what's going on? How are you today?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
Good. We're doing well. We've been talking our way through what we saw last night. So what did you see last night? What were your takeaways from, a comfortable win, but not a dominant win?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. I think in this day and age, people are just looking, with the metrics, with the publicity around all of that, with the tone that was set from the beginning of the season and what's at stake. Everyone just looks at it differently. I think, again, I hate to agree with Paulie, but something he said a while ago is in years past, you probably would just sort of shrug your shoulders. Okay, they beat a lesser team by not enough. The game was never in doubt. But, Syracuse is going to beat Mercyhurst 10 times out of 10. Probably going to beat Hofstra 9 times out of 10, but we all know how those two games have gone. And so it just hasn't had the look of the dominance that you're hoping for. But, there's a lot of season left. They're 11 games in with 7 wins and, really one certainly they'd love to have back. And you go from here and do the best you can.
Syracuse 4 for 17 from 3 last night. Paulie and I were kind of talking about that a little bit earlier. Paulie mentioned maybe shoot less threes. How do you feel about that? They're getting open looks for the most part from 3. They're just not knocking them down. Are they at a stage, they're shooting 30% as a team on the season. Are you at a stage where you would like to see them shoot less threes? Or do you think that as, it's a small-ish sample size and as the season progresses, they'll just naturally get better from 3?
I don't think the volume of attempts is that far off. Maybe there's been a couple of questionable ones here or there. You can't shoot 0. You can't cut it back to the point where you're not a threat at all from long range, and you have players that can make them. And as Mike Hopkins always said, they give you more for those. There's a reason that at every level of basketball, the three-pointer is valued. And it's not just that you get 3 points, it's that you get 3 points and you stretch and space the defense for, somebody like J.J. Starling is not a spectacular three-point shooter, but he is a very good driver and finisher. You got to have somebody making threes so that he's got lanes to drive. You've got to have the defense honor you all over the court. Tyler Betsy's going to make threes. Nate Kings is going to make threes, and Kyan Anthony's going to make threes. Right now, they're just not shooting up to their potential, and you can attribute it to a slow start to the season and what have you. The season is a third gone, though, and it's a fairly reasonable sample size, so you need to see improvement, but I wouldn't cut down significantly on the number of attempts. Maybe you could question 1 or 2 here or there.
What do you make of Nathan George's play? I said this to Coach right before we had Coach Autry on that. Even to he's played fine. It hasn't been great, but when he makes mistakes, anybody on earth knows that was a mistake that shouldn't happen, it feels like.
Yeah, those are inexplicable. I heard the press conference. I'm sure you guys want to talk about that. And Coach Autry defaults to this line of, well, we didn't bring him in to score 18 to 20. Nobody thought that. You didn't bring him in to score 8 either. Particularly with Donnie Freeman out. He's also down an assist and a half. So that's right. So he led the conference in assists last year. And, again, he kind of comes in with that expectation. He's going to average 6 assists a game. Well, when he's at 5, that's 2 or 3 points on your total right there, which might not seem like a lot, but it can make a difference. If you're talking about a team that's aiming to average close to 80 points per game. So I think he's got to be more of an offensive threat, be a scoring threat, even if at the end, can you drive by your man, create, draw help, and then you have a drop-off for Kyle or Sadiq or somebody else, and the points go on somebody else's register, and it's an assist, not a basket. That's a win, So I think there's more capacity there in Nathan George's game. And again, we're at the point now, turning the page of, okay, this sample size, learning new teammates and whatever, you got to be coming out of that. And what we see now is what the team is, with the huge asterisk, of course, that their best player has been sidelined for the last 6-7 games and is expected back anytime now. And that's going to make a big difference. You can't ignore that. They're going to be a lot better with Donnie Freeman on the floor. Back to some of George's mistakes. a guy of his experience level, you just can't throw the ball at the shins of a 6'9" guy. So when that happens, it is mystifying. It is head scratching. If he just cut out a couple of those a game, he'd be fine.
You know, Matt, you brought up Coach's press conference, and of course, you know, something you and I talk about when we talk is this comparison of Coach Autry to other coaches or coaches that might come in. There's people are comparing what Coach Autry said last night to what Will Wade. I don't know if you saw what Will Wade said after his team's play. You know, what do you make of the differences, and what do you think of people like thinking that, you know, we should have hired Will Wade?
I'm not the one who makes decisions. I have been here a long time, and I observe the decisions that are made. If you think that Syracuse University was going to hire Will Wade, you haven't been paying attention to Syracuse University. It just wasn't going to happen. And that type of press conference last night, I would think, would make people who run this university cringe. And you can decide whether you align with that or not. When I'm saying Will Wade's talking about, oh, yeah, we got a 3.0, but that's not what we're here for. The chancellor of this university would love everybody to have a 3.0. He would. And he wants to win football and basketball games, too. They want it all. I think Will Wade is obviously very successful at what he's done, but he's got the type of reputation that I think was untouchable for Syracuse, certainly at the time. Now, does that change over time and what have you? Maybe it will, and there's new leadership coming to the university before too long. So I don't want to speak for how those decisions are made. I just can speak on the track record that I've observed, and it's just a non-starter with Will Wade. So why do we keep bringing it up?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. I did want to follow up one question on Nate George.
And Chris Beard and Rick Pitino.
Right. Yeah, the list goes on and on. The end of the Hofstra game. Nathan George was not on the floor. Do you think we're getting to a point where, again, coming off another 6 turnover game, he's had 4 of those this year, 5 or more turnovers in a game. Do you think we're going to see JJ at the point more, especially when Donnie comes back, because there's one less spot for somebody to play on the floor when Donnie's back out there? Do you think we're going to see Nathan George on the floor less in crunch time moving forward into ACC play?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, when Freeman comes back, that's minutes that have to be reallocated, right? And so you have to make some sort of adjustment. You only have 1 ball, and you only have 5 positions on the floor. So who loses the most minutes? I don't know if it's going to be a hot hand approach, some different things there. If free throw shooting comes into play, I think you'd rather have George with the ball in his hands than Starling, but Starling's such a good finisher, and he's actually not bad in clutch free throws. So that's all for the coaching staff to decide. I'm not ready to bench or demote Nathan George yet. I think probably the elephant in the room here is you talk about it's pro sports, right? It's just like free agency. When you pay these guys, do you play these guys? And they're all getting paid. So when you talk about who's going to man those minutes and man those positions on the floor, if it comes down to George, Starling, Cayenne, they're all getting paid. So I don't think that really comes into it. I think they're just going to have to go with what they feel like is the best makeup at any given time. But I think Nathan George will play better going forward.
Matt, as long as we got you, I do have a couple of football questions for you. I mean, we saw Luke Carney hit the portal. Jakari Williams, obviously, in the portal as well. I saw some fans upset that Luke Carney decided to leave. Just your thoughts on those guys departing, and does the Luke Carney one surprise you in any way, shape, or form?
Not in the slightest.
Yeah. End of story. Moving on.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you watch the season?
Yeah, no, it didn't surprise me at all. I guess the reason I ask you is I'm seeing a lot of commentary on Twitter about, this one really hurts, and I guess I look at it as, he wasn't going to play anyway. But anyway, go ahead.
Luke Carney was made out to be Troy Aikman or something from the jump. I never understood that. Preserving a red shirt. What to preserve the red shirt would be to think that he's your best option at quarterback in like 2029.
Yeah.
What? So preserving the red shirt for him was the right thing to do to allow him to go do what he wants to do somewhere else. But it was apparent quite a ways into this that next year's quarterback group was not on the team this year. Jakari Williams obviously had a late injury. Luke Carney didn't beat out a walk-on from the lacrosse team that his best offer was Stony Brook or whatever it was. So that's the way it goes. They're going to bring in new quarterbacks, and you got to hope for Angeli's full recovery, but they have to effort a better backup. We all thought that, certainly on paper, which is all we really knew, that Ricky Collins was going to be a suitable backup. It didn't work out that way, and Carney was behind him, and his performance, in my mind, didn't show anything that, you were dreaming about a future with him. So I think you wish him well and you try again.
In terms of the transfer portal additions, I'm not asking you to name names, but in terms of positions of need, what do you think Fran Brown needs to attack first and foremost?
Well, it's going to be the lines, I think, on both sides. Pass rush, affect the quarterback. You've got a new defensive coordinator, and they want to be aggressive defensively. Fran was, more maybe hands-on on what the defense looked like than he anticipated. He was closer to that at the end of the year than he was at the beginning of the year, and obviously has made a change there. So you can let him speak for what he wants to see differently, but I think that's a big part of it. That's what the transfer portal is to college football, what free agency is to pro football. You look at your holes, and you can fix them in the short term. Ideally, you get more bang for your buck if you can bring in somebody that has more than a year or so of eligibility. So I think that's what they'll do. Obviously they have new coaches on both sides of the ball there, offensive and defensive line, and that's where I think the focus will be.
All right, Matt. I put Steve on the hot seat earlier. What are your 3 favorite Christmas cookies?
And he said chocolate chip. Right?
Yeah, he
so my sister makes chocolate chip cookies
right
every Christmas. So I'm sorry, but I love my sister's chocolate chip cookies on Christmas.
I'm sure they're fantastic. That's not a Christmas cookie. Now,
it is for me.
In my family and others, I've seen the peanut butter cookie with the Hershey's Kiss or the Reese's or the good Rolo jammed in. That's not a Christmas cookie either. That comes around Christmas time. It's not what's Christmassy about it, right? So that's not it. For me, number one, totally underrated, probably outdated, but you load up all the dough in that gun and you just spritz out the smaller little bites, kind of a sugar cookie. Maybe you sprinkle them with red or green. I think that's number one. You could have like 12 of those with a glass of milk. That's number one. Number two is just this is your typical Christmas cookie, the cutout with the frosting on top.
Yep.
With me, right?
That was my number two also, yeah.
Your Christmas tree shape or the jingle bell or the whole thing. And then 3 off the top of my head, I think I would go thumbprint. Boom, jelly in there. I heard somebody say snickerdoodle before.
I told Paulie
snickerdoodle is a great cookie, but it's not specific to Christmas.
To Christmas, yeah. I told Paulie that Maddie at Channel 9, she makes like the best thumbprint, like raspberry. It's very good.
Am I weird for liking the anise cookies?
No, I think they're good.
Yes, you're weird. You're weird in general, but those pop up. Timeout. I got to throw gingerbread in there.
I'm not a fan of gingerbread.
I would bump up gingerbread ahead of thumbprint, or meandering your list here, gerrymander your list. If you make thumbprint and those sugar cookies kind of the same thing, make them like a tie for number one, then your regular cutout Christmas cookie with the frosting, then gingerbread.
That's what I always try to do, and you yell at me.
Are you going to yell at Matt for taking too long on his answer? Or we need to go to break.
No, it wasn't about that. It was our producer was saying take a break, and you were refusing to listen to our producer. That's what I had an issue with. Matt,
That's what we all tune in for,
well.
is you two bickering back and forth about the time.
Yes, we bicker a lot, don't we? You've got the Adrian Autry show tonight over at Wildcat, yes?
Yes, looking forward to it.
All right. Thank you, Matt, for your time as always. We'll take a time out. We technically have 2 more segments. So
yeah, we could come back, wrap it up, and just make a double break if that's okay.
Is that what you're going to
I'm
do?
fine with that, Steve,
Okay.
and everybody will be okay.
All right.
We will live to see another day.
We get one less Dave Matthews song now because of that.
Maybe I'll bump in with it and bump out with
bump
it.
in
We've
and
done it
bump out.
before. We've been here before,
All right.
bro.
We'll figure it out during the break.